Welcome back, everybody, to Dan Has Fun with me, Daniel, doing more Bologna Baloney. Last episode, kind of just cleaned things up. We switched religions, so we are now showing as a Protestant nation, as that pop-up nicely showed up right on cue. We also, really just for memes, have become Defender of the Faith, even though there's only two nations, including ourselves. But no, it's a nice little bonus just so we can have the second missionary convert our nation a little bit more swiftly. We're not planning on going for religious ideas, so it's a nice temporary workaround. We are 94 months away from the Age of Discovery, and the Ottomans are wrecking face for the Venetians. This is one of the best ideas, I would say, flat out in the game. So, scientific revolution. 10% cheaper techs, 10% less cost when when you have an institution to embrace. Awesome, we are definitely picking that up. Still means that it would be quite expensive to pick up Diplotech level 9 right now. Though somebody did 13 years ago, apparently. Kudos to them. We are not going to worry about it. We're going to let our Diplo points accumulate. We might actually, once our burghers, tradespeople hate us a bit less, so we don't have this plus 10% development cost penalty. We might just use some up, just so we can kind of improve the provinces that we have. Unhappiness among the artisans. We are definitely not executing the troublemakers. I don't really want to do that either. Because our leader is cruel, we actually have the option of just crushing the troublemakers rather than executing them. You get money if you do this, but you also get a few peasant, revolts, as you can imagine. Where would they be? In Ravenna? Okay, well, what we're going to do then is we're going to stop drilling, and we're going to send our army over there, and then once we're sat in place, we will trigger that event. Florence is still spying on us. Good for them. Okay, we don't have full morale because we were drilling, but these peasants are going to get absolutely smashed. Peasants are terrible. As you would expect. Ottomans want open borders with us? Yeah, we're fine with that. Yeah, Venice is going to have obviously no troops, but I'm really hoping that the Ottomans keep some ships out here and smash the Venetian navy. So we can pretty much just waltz in there in 4 years' time and take it. That would be awesome. We do have enough points to claim one of Florence's territories. Which one do we want? Firenze's a 30 development location. That's wild. But they're all in the same state as Lucca, so it actually doesn't matter, really. We'll put the claim on the most expensive one just because we can. It also has a great project as the Santa Maria del Fiore, which is pretty good. It gives you extra splendor every month, so you can have extra sweets, extra sweet cups of teas or maybe something like that, right? No, in all seriousness, it'll be for this. Austria is being re-elected, the Holy Roman Emperor. In terms of a reform they've just enacted, it means that, the Empire gets cheaper state maintenance, so we'll all make a little bit more money, and it gives casus belli on non-members bordering the Empire to force them to join the Empire. Not sure we'll really be making great use of that, but it is an option on the table, and we will definitely accept the new royal marriage from Austria. Austria need to stay our besties, and as long as they're still the Holy Roman Emperor, I have no intentions in changing that. Witch trials. So if we condone the trials, we gain church power, but we do have 5 years of more unrest and less goods produced. We can just ignore it, but if we ignore it, this event has a habit of cropping up again and again and again, so it doesn't really solve the problem. But it only gives you 3 years of those witch trial penalties. Or you can just get in and stop them, which actually costs church power. 80% of the time, you still get unrest, but less of it. And then 20% of the time, you actually get an event that shows that we are trying to protect witches, which is funny. Let's see if we can get it. No, I don't think we did. That's a shame. It's not necessarily the best pick, but I just wanted to show what happens. Oh well. We also have a new coin. So if we reject it, we gain inflation. And if we do new coins, we actually lose Republican tradition. But because we have a guy that decreases inflation, and we have strong treasury department anyway, I'm just going to say the inflation's fine and it will fix itself. Do you still hate us? I'd love you to... Okay, next month the burgers will hate us less. We're actually at maximum monarch points though, so I'm going to spend 1. Just so we don't waste monarch points. It's a travesty to waste monarch points. So for development of Diplo, I just want to pick a relatively cheap one that's still efficient. So can't do Ravenna, we're going to have to do Treviso. We're going to wait for 1 monthly tick to go through. There we go. Alright, so now they don't hate us, we don't have that 10% penalty. So I'm going to close that screen back off, because I don't know if it updates automatically or not. And then pretty much just mash through until I find what I want. There we go. Development. Just keep mashing the menu. So we can do 1 more in Bologna, so we're going to do it. We can't do any in Padova. Treviso can do a few more, so we'll get that in there. They do have 30% local autonomy, so it's not the most efficient, but it's fine. We're running actually out of provinces where we can do it. We'll do a couple in Modena and then we'll call that good, just so it rounds up to the next 5. That should have increased our money significantly. So last month it was 2.59. Yeah, up to 3.2. We just converted another province. We're going to go back to drilling. Mantova is going to be an expensive province to convert, so we might even temporarily lose a little bit of money. But it's definitely worth doing. We still haven't taken out any of Venice's ships yet, which is disappointing. What's our capacity? 23 now. Okay, perfect. So we'll get 3 more galleys in there. And what should we do with this idle diplomat? Because he's meant to be automatically improving relationships with allies, but they must be so good that he doesn't have anything to do. He's still allied to Venice. I wonder if the Ottomans will break Venice's alliance with Castile. Do they hate them? No. The Ottomans hate the Mamluks, Poland, and Austria. Speaking of which, yeah, there's the first chunk of Mamluk land gone to the Ottomans, so they are going to wreck the Mamluks. No point trying to befriend Burgundy or France by the looks of it. Aragon loves Castile. I assume Naples does too, yep. Absolutely. So, I guess in the meantime, all we'll do is we'll just build spy network against Venice in case we want to try and claim anything else. And we'll just watch very closely to see whose alliances stick. They are still allied to Genoa. So we could get claims on Genoan land too, but we're going to end up with way, way, way too much aggressive expansion. It is the battle of this game, is you want all the land and you technically have the capacity to take it, but doing so will wreck you. So it's about resisting the urge. Diplotech, still 55% penalty, 55% for military. We don't have any military ideas left to do, so I might actually pump a little bit of development into military while we're at it. That way we can always do more into Diplo later too, because every province apart from 2 is capped for diplomatic development, because you can't have any more investment in one of the 3 if it's more than the other 2 added together. So Bologna, for example, now has 16 development for Diplo, but it's only 15 for the other 2 added together, so you can't do more than that. Whereas if I pump some more into it, if I put a couple, for example, in Bologna, now I can. We're not going to, but we can. But yes, improving with military power gives you more manpower, which is something we are distinctly lacking. It also gives you more sailors too, and a little bit more force limit. Not a huge amount, but a little bit. We're going to put a couple in to round that up to 15. We're going to do 2 there. Okay, perfect. That'll be fine. Up to 26,000 maximum manpower, which is not bad. We're slowly getting there. There is going to be a critical limit eventually, so when you get enough manpower, unless things go spectacularly badly, it will effectively feel like you have unlimited manpower. It usually, in my experience, is around about the 120,000 mark where that starts to happen. Clearly, we're nowhere near it yet. Nobody else has taken the Reformation, Center of Reformation. That's really sad. We have pretty much converted everything in our own territory right now, so the Center of Reformation is starting actually on Florence down here. I'd rather they be working on, say, Milan or Austria, but we legitimately have no way of determining or making that change. So we just have to be patient. Ottomans must have pieced Venice out. I was hoping they might hang on for a little bit longer. It's weird that they still haven't taken Albania, though. Albania is still there, so they're going to have a 4th attack on that province, I'm sure, at some point. But they didn't break any alliances, which is sad. So if we do attack Venice, obviously we're not going to do it right now, we have a peace treaty. But we would have to go after, yeah, Castile, which means Aragon and Naples. Genoa, which doesn't matter. The Knights, which also doesn't matter. And Constance, apparently. Which is, what, 1 province minor? Yeah, it's next to Switzerland. We don't need to get any more alliances. Right now we're at 4 of 4. So any more would cost us Diplo points, so I'm not interested. Can we get away with building any more galleys? We can get 1 more, so we might as well get it in the queue. We're going to need ships to protect against Venice. We're not going to, like I said, we're not going to be able to protect against Castile, but we won't need to. The plan is, when we attack Venice, is we send all our ships, including our trade ships, up into the Gulf of Venice, French Golden Era, and then while they're fighting, have our stack of troops go into Venezia, or at least enough of them to do the siege. It's only a level 1 fort, which is interesting. So I wouldn't actually have to put that many troops in there to do that. We're not going to send our whole stack, because then if Spain rocks up, you know, Castile rocks up and blocks our ability to get back off Venezia, that's a disaster. How long until the next stage? 74 months. We want to attack Venice while we're still in the Age of Discovery. Remember, we're getting a 10% discount in our aggressive expansion. Having a horrible prestige stat is not going to help on that front. The aggressive expansion impact actually goes up when your prestige is terrible, but your war stats also suck a bit. So we would like to not have massively negative prestige, but there's not much we're going to do. Florence has converted to Protestant. I wonder if that'll annoy France enough to not stay allied to them. We'll have to keep an eye on that. The papacy will probably hate Florence as a result. Actually, Florence hates the papacy, but the papacy doesn't hate them. They're too busy hating me, which is nice of them. France is still allied to them, so we're not going to attack them. Not yet, anyway. Does that mean... Did they take... No, they did not take a Center of Reformation. Oh, there's the other one. Okay. So Hanover is where the other Center of Reformation is. That really sucks. Having those 2 centers of Reformation so close together means that, yeah, that area is going to turn Protestant. But it's going to be a really hard time for me to get southern Germany to convert. And there's no way that France is going to convert. So unless we get reformed down here, they're not going to change religion at all. Quite often Hungary will change to reformed when it comes out. We just lost our Master of the Mint. That is sad. Again, we don't have a half-price dude, so we're just going to take a +1. He's a tax guy in this case, so I guess we'll make a bit more money, but our inflation will drop a little bit slower. You can spend admin points to decrease inflation, but ours is naturally going to go down, so I don't really see the value in that. Interesting that this province for Ragusa is being converted into Protestant. That actually really sucks, because if the guarantee on Ragusa from the Ottomans stops, then we would be inclined to defend. So let's hope that doesn't happen. We're up to a nice amount of Republican tradition. And while we wait, so what's the magic date we're looking for? January 1504. So we're going to wait just a moment, and while we do that, oh, our military leader died while drilling. That's unfortunate, because I'm definitely going to have to recruit a new one. Not bad, actually. I'll take that. That's not terrible. We can keep drilling for now. I was about to say, while we wait, as I'll grab that claim, I was going to take a drink, and we're just going to pause and reflect on what we're doing. We definitely want to claim there, so we're going to just wait a moment. And roughly midway through 1503, we will stop drilling. So let's just wait for a moment and listen to the nice background music, which will be hopefully fairly quiet and not copyrighted at all. I timed that amazingly. The only audio you probably would have heard is the sound of money going into the treasury and the sound of seagulls. Awesome. And we can now pick an aspect of faith because we're up to 100 church power. And in our case, we clearly want to have a military-based option. Really, the question is, do we want more morale or do we want more discipline? And just because the naval battle's actually going to be important this time around, we're going to go for morale. Morale means you hang around in the battle for longer. Discipline means you do more damage. So both are good. Don't get me wrong. Most of the time, discipline tends to be better if you're trying to attrition an enemy down, but I'm going to take morale for now. Might also be tempting to get military tech level 9 during the war. Does anybody else have it that would be involved? No. Constance doesn't even have military tech 8 yet. Do we want to grab that idea? Gives us one extra advisor to pick from. I'm going to say no for now, because we're going to probably need admin points to core. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. Just muted that before I sneezed, I think. Florence is claiming Ravenna. They could be super rude and attack me if I'm attacking Venice, but I don't think they're super inclined to do it because they're allied to Milan. And Milan will definitely jump in to defend me. So we want to disable drilling. We don't want to allow that. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 support infantry, 4 cannons. We're going to put our rubbish leader on there, because that's going to be the one that's going to hang around and actually do the siege. We need to hire, actually, an admiral. It's the first one we've had. We're not expected to get a great admiral. Our navy tradition is not good. Actually, that's not bad at all. It may not look great, but considering what's our navy in terms of tradition. Naval tradition 15.7. It's pretty bad. We are slowly gaining naval tradition, but only very, very slowly. And we're going to have 14 galleys and 10 light trading ships. They have 15 ships total. They do have about the same quality in terms of admirals, but they have a heavy ship. Although I still think, even if they might have slightly better stats than our naval troops, because Venice gets a lot, as you can imagine, in terms of naval ideas, I still think we should be okay from a naval front, at least against Venice alone. That would be about as optimistic as I can be, but that would be at least something. Yeah, they have, as you see, their Venetian tradition. It gives them more sailors. They also have the Venetian arsenal, which actually gives them the opportunity to have more ships, but it doesn't make their ships better. Not yet. They haven't unlocked that far. And they haven't gone for naval ideas either. Increased influence in the Protestant faith. So 5 nations are now Protestant, which means because we're defender of the faith, we're now a defender of a tier 2 faith. So we just get slightly better bonuses. Really, the important one is that we get the monthly war exhaustion. And it just decreases a little bit quicker, which is very nice because it's a 1-on-1 ratio with unrest. So I have no qualms with that whatsoever. So we're only half a year or so away from going after Venice, unless they throw us a real curveball at the very last minute. The price of fish has dropped. So we're going to take our diplomat away from Florence, because they're not needed. It'll say right now that they're unwilling to join, but it's really because we have that truce. Otherwise, they would be, all three of these guys would be willing to join, especially Milan. Milan does not like Venice. However, we are not going to invite them straight away, because I want to claim these two provinces for myself first. And then after I've done that, we will then invite Milan in. Because I don't know if we're going to take these two provinces, but I want the option if we do. So at least potentially we can do it. I wonder if, actually, when we came to those numbers, how unwilling was Poland? Yeah, it's at -35. So if you have a nation prepare for war, they get a bonus of 20 towards their willingness. We do have 31 favors. What I'm going to do ahead of time is I am going to trade favors for trust. And we're going to do it with a few of our neighbors. How many do we have? 23 and 44. We're not going to increase our trust with Austria yet. But we are going to do it with Poland and with Bohemia a couple of times. Because just having more trust gives them slightly more inclination to do anything really that we ask for. So we're good there. And we're good there. So now we have 60 trust with both of those nations, and I still have enough favors to theoretically call Poland in if they were willing. We're not going to invite them in on this, because I don't think they're going to be willing to get involved. Because even now, yeah, it's at -19, give or take. That's some beautiful phlegm there, so I did mute, so you wouldn't hear me sounding like a thwomp going, theoretically, if I did prepare for war now with them, they would join, but we wouldn't have enough favors to actually get them to join. I'd need 20 favors, and we do not quite have that. So we're just not going to invite Poland in. If Poland's attitude changes partway through the war, they might be willing to accept afterwards, but it's fine. We have a new organization. So we gain some army professionalism, and we do have a level 2 military advisor that is half price available. Now, we already have one. Actually, I'm pretty sure we got this guy from said event, but he is 50. So I'm tempted to replace him with this 30-year-old. Yes, it'll cost 38 gold, but he's less likely to die every year. So I still think that is a worthwhile idea. We're getting close to the time, so I'm going to take my navy that is protecting trade. I'm going to combine it with my galleys. And then we are going to wait, so they are ready to roll. Don't see anything unusual. I don't even see... Does Genoa even have troops? I don't care. Milan will deal with that when I invite them in. Hurtful trade policies. If we support our traders, they get more influence, which again, I'm treading careful about. But 10% trade efficiency is very, very good, so I'm just going to say it's fine. If it starts getting really close again, we'll slap them back down. And before the war, I do want to seize land, because you can't seize land mid-war. Okay, so... Turn of the year. There is the peace treaty gone. I am not going to throw in a cut straight away this time. The last time I had a war with Venice, I'm not going to troll twice in a row. And, you know, the episode's only 23, 24 minutes long. So we are going to bring in Bohemia and Austria. We are not going to bring Milan in yet. Constance isn't going to join anyway. So I'm good with that. And we're going to claim Venezia. And go. So we should still see a trumpet up here. So Milan will be willing for now, but we're not going to do it yet. And we're going to set that up, turn the speed down, and then bring our units out. Because what will happen is either they will leave their navy in here, in which case who cares, or they're going to come out and attack my navy, and then Austria's will probably join in as well. Yeah, all the standards joined in. Where are Castilian troops? I don't see any. We could have built like a fort on Corsica, but it doesn't. That's just the distraction. Remember last time we fought? It's purely distraction. Okay, we didn't actually stack wipe them, which is interesting, but I don't see them, so I guess we did anyway. If Austria wants to start sieging this, I'm perfectly okay with that, because they, theoretically, they should give it to us, because Milan is not in this war yet. And because we are at war, we get the cheaper mercenaries, which we're not going to be using. We don't need them. So, navally, all we have to do is keep an eye out. Why? Oh, why would you do that? I was going to say, all we have to do is keep an eye out, because if Castile's naval force comes up here, we can run away. But because Austria is stupid, they've run out like headless chickens. So we're going to go in that direction just to see how many of these come over. And if we can win this quickly, we can get away. I'm just trying to protect Austria's navy. It looks like we're not going to get that lucky, though. So yeah, so we're just going to claim Bergamo. Austria is going to then hopefully stay sieging Bologna. What are the stats looking like in this mess? I did not want this to turn into a full-on naval combat. Most of their units are transports, actually. And our war stats are pretty similar. They can have a much wider engagement width, but we have more morale. Okay, so that's claimed. We now want to then deal with Genoa, get Genoa out of the way. That siege is going relatively quickly because it's only a level 1 fort. When these guys come in, it's going to possibly get a bit more dangerous because they now have heavy ships in there. We don't have any of those. But we still might win this fight. It's going to be close, and we're going to probably lose a few ships. Austria's definitely going to lose a few of theirs. But if we can take out some ships, I'm okay with that. Okay, we did win. Wow. So, in terms of damage, 1 light ship, 1 galley on our side. We actually ended up gaining 2 transports. And by we, I mean between Austria and I. So clearly we must have lost a galley or a light ship extra, and it just replenished 1, hence captured ships 3. They lost all 3 of their light ships, 10 galleys, and 14 transports. And that is the best trait I could have hoped for. So our admiral is now a ram raider, which sounds a bit perverted, but practically for us, it means there's more combat strength for galleys. That is awesome. We actually got the 2 transports. Okay. I don't need them, so they're just going to come with us. I did lose a light ship. Okay. What does our limit look like at this point? We're still at our exact limit. That is awesome. We're going to go back to Ferrara, and we are going to heal. And I'm hoping the Austrian stack... Oh, actually, did all of Austria's ships, did they all die? That's sad for them, but funny. We're just going to accept we lose some church power. It's fine. I'm also tempted at this point. Now I should be able to invite Milan in without any consequences. So that's what we're going to do. And I believe for this episode, that's where we're going to leave it off for now. So we've got to start. We actually won in naval combat against Venice and Castile. Who would have seen that coming? And we are slowly sieging down the Venetian capital. And this time, we're not going to give in super quickly against Castile. We want to try and hurt them a bit. We're not going to be able to split Aragon or Naples off. But if we can have Castile take enough pain, maybe we'll get some revolts firing for them. Maybe they'll fall apart that way. So that's the plan. So if you want to hang around and see the plan either get executed or me look like a big dum-dum, subscribe to the channel. You'll be able to see the next video. Nice and easy. Typically uploading Wednesdays and Saturdays. Appreciate your time. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care now. Thank you for watching the video.